Guest speaker is the Venerable Dr. Anil Sukando himself. Again, I feel very inadequate to introduce him to you because he doesn't need this at all, but just for the sake of formality and from the point of view of my own personal relationship with him, we work in a few organizations together as a colleague. The International Association of Buddhist Universities, we co-founded this with Siddhu Sayadaw, who is our chairman, and the Venerable Dr. Sukando is our honorary treasurer, and I myself had the honor of holding the Secretary General responsibility. Nepal may rightly claims Venerable Dr. Anil Sukando as their proud son. At the same time, the Kingdom of Thailand also claims him to be one of their own, because he has been educated and ordained there under the Sangha of Thailand, who arranged for him to go and study at the University of Cambridge in England. And he received his Master of Philosophy in Anthropology in Cambridge, and then he completed his PhD under Professor David Kellner, a well-known anthropologist at Brunel University. Venerable Dr. Sukando is an organizer. He is an academic, is a Dhammaduta with philosophy of his own. So for all those work, the King of Thailand has conferred on him a title, Sakya Wangsa Visuddhi. That's an honorary title that he is known in Thailand. And he is also Deputy Rector for Foreign Affairs of Mamagut Buddhist University. He is going to be speaking to us on Buddhist education system. So without further ado, I'd like to respectfully invite our next speaker, the Venerable Dr. Anil Sukando Pandey.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Most Venerable Siddhu Sayadaw Dr. Rashin Yanisara, the patron and the convener of this very conference, honorable ministers, excellencies, distinguished scholars, and all brother and sisters in the Dhamma. I think this is my first time, and then I have to thank the weather of Nepal that I am before the President of Nepal. Otherwise, we will have to speak after Right Honorable President. Today, we got up into that, the monk first. Well, Buddhist education system, I guess that we don't have to tell. I guess that we don't have to really discuss what Buddhism all about. If we really understand Buddhism, the core teaching of Buddhism is education itself. The core Buddhist practice is indeed a systematic education. Buddhist monasteries played a prominent role in disseminating both religious and secular education from the time a long, long time ago. When we think about the Buddhist history, when we think about all these ruins and all these Buddhist monasteries, we know for sure that all those Buddhist monasteries is not only played a role as a religious institutions or religious kind of giving service to religious purpose, but main purpose of these Buddhist monasteries is education. Education is a main teaching of the Buddha. Why? To put simply, actually when we think about educations, we might ring the bell, the simple word called Eightfold Noble Path, which I personally convinced that the very word Eightfold Noble Path is proclaimed here in Lumbini. It is in the inscriptions of the King Asoka. For many, they might translate the word Ubalike kate attabhagiyecha. For many, for centuries, we have been translating that very word as the King Asoka reduced the taxing of these villages in Lumbini. He took only 1 out of 8. Very convincing indeed. But looking at all the inscriptions of the Asoka, not only in Nepal, in India and elsewhere, we can see that in all those inscriptions of Asoka, Asoka never make any comment and any teachings which resemble his political idea, which resemble some kind of a law and decree, even about the taxes. Why on earth in Lumbini? Why on earth in Lumbini that Buddha and the King Asoka said that he want to tax Buddhist people there? Who want to tax the people who follow the Buddhas? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense at all. So, I'm proposing as a part of my appealing to all the scholars here, King Asoka proclaimed the whole idea of Eightfold Noble Path in that inscriptions. When it says that the Ubalike kate attabhagiyecha, instead of interpreting as a 1 out of 8 text, why can't we have a broader idea and says that the King Asoka encouraged all villagers here in Lumbini Game, in the village of Lumbini, to practice, to follow the Eightfold Noble Path. Why I'm emphasizing on this? Because that is the main idea I want to propose as a Buddhist education system. What are those Eightfold Noble Paths? Of course, in abbreviations, we call Sila. In abbreviation, we call Samadhi. In abbreviation, we call Panya. And what are these titles? Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Moral, morality, mental development. 3M. And all this morality, morality, meditation, and mental development is basically, it is entitled in all the Buddhist canon as a threefold educations, threefold training. What we train, what we educate. As a Sila, Sila or the precept or the morality, it is very important to us. Because Sila, it doesn't mean that just a precept. Sila doesn't mean that it's just to restrain or kind of say no and do and don't. In Sila, if we memorize, if we think, in every Buddhist rituals, which I'm sure that we are going to do in the official opening, we talk about giving the 5 precepts. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Beware the word sikkhapadang. It says that I accept, I admit that I will study, I will train myself, Sikha. Padang, the way, the lessons. Of what? Of not harming others, of not stealing, of not violating any of our human rights, not to tell lie, and not to intoxicate ourselves. Buddha didn't say that, don't do that. Buddha says that, go and study and you will see the pro and con, and it is more affecting than, say, do and don't. That is education. Therefore, when we talk about Buddhist education system, it's very important to realize, to understand what is the intention of Buddhism itself. That's why I say that actually Buddhism is an education system. Being a visiting professor in the Western countries, I sometimes in a very difficult positions when I have to define Buddhism. When they ask that what is Buddhism? As a normal formula, as we say that Buddhism is a religion. But when we go into the definition of religion in English term, it's very awkward. How can a Buddhism be a religion? When in the word religion, you need to have a God. And I don't have a God. I'm lost somewhere. So how can I claim that Buddhism is a religion in the sense of religion in the Latin or in the English terminology? But if you look at the word Buddha Sasana, which is a Pali coin, which is a Buddha used by himself when he summarized the teaching of the Buddha, Sabba papasa karanang kusalassu pasampada sachita paryodapanang etang buddhana sasana. Not to do any evil, to do all good things, to purify your minds. That is the teachings of the Buddha, you see. The word Buddhism, actually, it means that education itself. Educating what? Educating every human beings to be awakened, to be enlightened, to be the Buddha. So that is a Buddhism. You may call it a religion, you may call it a philosophy, you may call it psychology, you may call it archaeology, whatever you want to do. Therefore, when the ideas of Buddhist message is developed in the world, the whole idea we can see in the Buddhist community, we have a Dhammadesana, for example. What is Dhammadesana? Dhammadesana means that to teach. How do we teach? Desana means that to point out something which is already existed. So I don't just come out here and then say whatever, blah, 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 what I think. Every word, every teaching, what I share with people, it is not my invention. And Buddha says that not even his invention. It is the truth, the noble truth, which is already existed. So, desana means that we are pointing that noble truth to everyone. Just a simile. It is just like a piece of hair in front of our eyes, and it's blocked the whole big, gigantic mountain. It's there, but we never care. So that's why the truth is there, but we never see that truth. So the Buddhist works, the Buddhist education work, Buddhist educators' work is basically to clean that, a piece of line of hair which is blocking our view to the truth. That is Dhammadesana. We have an idea called Dhammasakacha. What is Dhammasakacha? It is the one of the religion in the world which give liberty in debating, which got the liberty even to question the Buddha. Buddha says that the truth is truth, not because Buddha found it, because it's not Buddha said it. Truth is there because by itself. So, the whole idea of Dhammasakacha is the whole basis of intellectual exegete, intellectual debate to find out the truth. Dhamma Savana. We hear, we listen. I'm here that we are, in a way, we are doing the Dhamma Savana, but in a very modern way. Listening to the Dhamma. That is how we carry on our legacy. That is how we open up our senses and able to think through and able to understand. Therefore, when we talk about Buddhist education, it is something very close to us. It is something we are really emphasizing about who we are, what we are doing. And this conference is unique in its kind. This might be the first time that we are bridging this sacred, secular, and academic aspect of Lumbini on the same platform. We have world-renowned UNESCO-affiliated Lumbini archaeologists. We have a UNEP-affiliated climate change expertise. And of course, many Buddhist monastics, esteemed Buddhist scholars of multidisciplinary on the same platform. Working for what? For the same goal of promoting, protecting, and preserving Buddhist culture. We are promoting, protecting, preserving our world heritage. I guess that most of wearables and the one who's audience already get my keynote speech. But I am not trying to read it because some voice telling behind me that the president is already at the airport, he is on the way to the air. So if I read it, I will lose myself because the air is coming closer. So what I'm trying to do is that trying to relay the message as long as when they ask me to stop, then I will stop anytime. So what I would like to really share with you in this theme of Buddhist education system is that I want you to really think about ourselves and then ask ourselves, what does education really mean? Why do we go to school? It's become more or less, automatic. When we're born, we learn language. Our parents send us to the school, whether we like it or not. And then we grow up time to time. Good. So what does a real education mean? Why do we go to school? Why do we learn various subjects? Why do we pass examinations and compete with each other for better grades? What does this so-called education mean and what is all about? So that's why if we really look at the Buddhism, if we really look at the Buddhist education system, we can get that answers without going to any universities. We can get these answers within the university of our own mind. So, this is a long speech, you can read yourself. But just to give a little bit of idea, Buddhist education system is a machine which can transform every human beings from ordinary human, what we call is Puthujana, to become a better human called Kalyana Jana. And even to better human, Seka Pugala, one who educated, and a Seka Pugala in the last stage that we don't need to be educated anymore. We are fully educated. So that is a stage of a Buddhist idea, Buddhist education system. When you think of etymologically, it is very interesting. In Pali, the word Sikha, which made up from Sayang Ikha, what means that self-seeing, Sayang, by yourself, understanding by yourself, Saha Ikha, communal understanding, or Sayang or Samma Ikha, which means that right seeing or understanding. Therefore, education or Sikha in Buddhism means learning or experiencing things through self-seeing or seeing together, which are conducive to the righteousness and humanity, which is very close to the education in English to bring out your humanity outside. I have something around 4 minutes, so I will jump to a conclusions, some kind of idea which I want to share, that what all Buddhist education all about. I want to put in the very 3 bullet points. If we look at the whole history of Buddhist education, Buddhism through 2,500 years, I can just put it simply as a pre-modern Buddhist education system, which I mean from the way how we develop carry on our education, be a monastic, and mostly, of course, monastic in old age. And then I could say that there's another system which is overlapping in modern days. It's called modern Buddhist education system, which is again overlapped by the extra modern, what I call this postmodern Buddhist education system. And all these 3 kind of education system overlapping, each other even these days. We have a ancient, sort of a pre-modern Buddhist education system which will encourage monks and venerables to memorize all the text after text. We can see in Burma that there's venerable monks who can memorize the whole Tipitakas, nearly 80 volumes of them, by heart. We revere and we respect. We have all in Sri Lanka, in Burma, Tipitaka-acharya, Dharma-acharya, Pali 9, and so great scholars. But one of the disadvantage, the modern education trying to blame, trying to complain, is that those revered monks are very good at knowledge. But they can't bring that knowledge to the modern generation because they don't have the modern knowledge. So, new system we introduce called modern Buddhist education. We are trying to bring the oldest Buddhist university, Buddhist colleges. In Sri Lanka, in Burma, in Thailand, we have many Buddhist colleges and universities trying to work together with the modern secular universities. Like university I'm involving is a government-supported university in Thailand. But what happened? We are trying to bridge the ancient knowledge, the text, and we are trying to bring all the secular knowledge together. But we have a same time, 24 hours. We are bringing 2 big source of knowledge together. So what happened is that all the graduates from those universities, very few who come very good. Otherwise, we are creating mediocre Buddhist scholars. I don't know whether this is right or wrong, but that is a history we have seen. And now we have another one, it's postmodern. Like in the university in the West, all these modern universities trying to say that Buddhism is a pure academic fantasies. Buddhism is pure academic tools. They are going through, they are studying this and that. And what happened? The first group of ancient Buddhist modern have a firm faith. The second one is so-so. But the postmodern is that deconstruct everything and they see every Buddhist thing as an object of study and there is no faith at all. It's just an entertain of education. So, this is briefly, I can put it in a few minutes, of education what's going on. So there is a pro and con if all those education system. My last sort of a comment to want to share, I guess that you can read all the things, is that we just came out here just now. Our topic is that promoting, preserving, and protecting. What is all this about? I would say that that is a very thing of Buddhist, hardcore study of Buddhism. Because we are promoting what? We are promoting, basically means that that is a Buddha. Buddha means that intellectual understanding. Buddha means that the knowledge. We need to promote not only Lumbini, but we need to promote the whole knowledge of Lumbini. For what? For the enlightenment. To be a Buddha. So I say that promotion is equivalent to the Buddha. Preservations. That is a Dharma indeed. Dharma means what? Dharma means that by etymology it's something that it upholds together. The truth, the absolute truth which holds together. And how do we do that? That we have to preserve, because if we don't preserve, it destroys. It destroys. And the truth is gone. And it will become not the truth anymore. So preservation of truth is that we have to study, we have to go through all the texts in order to understand ourselves, in order to understand our mind. That is a preservation. It is not only the preservation of Lumbini, but preservation of Lumbini through Dharma preservation. And of course, the last one is protections. Protections, I would say that is equivalent to the Sangha. Sangha means grouping. Sangha means a group, a community, the gathering. And if we don't protect our gathering, if we don't have our security guard, if we don't have all these rules and regulations, of course, this gathering will be chaos. Therefore, protections is that we need to protect our every fragile human mind. We need to protect the community. We need to protect in a way that respecting each other, how do we live together? That is basically Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Panya, wisdom, is the Buddha. Samadhi is the keeping the balance, the preservation, the Dharma. And Sila, the morality, is whole about society. And we are living together as a human being because there is another human being. The whole idea of a Sila is that recognizing and accepting the existence of the other. Compassion. So therefore, please, if you are going to talk about everything in this conference, promoting, preserving, protections is not far away from what we are doing, taking refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, the Sangha, what we are talking about the Sila, Samadhi, Prajna, and so on. I hope that within these few days, we can talk more about it, and then we can be ourselves, the Buddha, ourselves become a Dhamma, ourselves become a Sangha, instead of imposing to each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the most venerable Dr. Sukando, for a very thought-provoking keynote speech. Many interpretations and understanding that will provoke our thoughts for many days, weeks, and months to come. People who go to supermarket, they say, buy one, get one free. With Venerable Dr. Sukando, you get a printed keynote speech, you also get a free keynote speech, so today, buy one, get one free. The last keynote speaker is